Hey, but shit, I thought I was in the goddamn stream. I hear talking my ass off. Ah, hey man, morning people. How it is, man? Happy Saturday. Hope everybody having a good weekend. I know some of we at work or whatever, whatever. I myself at work right now. I trying to make a couple dollars on the weekend, a little overtime, you know what I'm saying? But on the break, I like to come on and, you know, talk about things I don't know about, you know. From a casual boxing fan perspective. So, all casual, this is your channel to come on and feel comfortable. This is a casual boxing fans channel. I am a guy who does not know all these 1940s fights. I'm just a dude. As you can see, my avatar picture is duck season, and there's a lot of ducking going on in boxing right now. But we're not really going to talk about ducking today. We're going to talk about Matt Breland, his interview with Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ajayi, Lions in the camp. Lions in the camp, I said. Tunde Ajayi. And it was, hey man, Matt Breland pretty much said what he had to say. He was asked the question straight and he answered as straight as he could. You could tell that Mark was still sort of, holding back certain things. He didn't really want to get too into it. But it was a good interview, man. And I'm not going to play the interview because the quality is not so great and I'm not using my headphones today. But yeah, if you go and just look up Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ajayi channel on YouTube, you'll see the interview. It's making its round on YouTube. A lot of people have played it or have chopped it up, and I'm just gonna give my opinions on it. He talked about quite a few things about his career. He has quite an illustrious amateur career. He's a two-time champion, I think, in the pro ranks. Good fighter. But of course, the stuff that people really wanted to know about was the Deontay Wilder situation, and he basically talked about how he was asked, "Yeah, what up, Tone? Peace, peace." He was asked straight what happened with him and Wilder, and basically Matt Breland said, it's whatever. His opinion, just like he himself, Matt Breland, is done the same way Deontay Wilder done. He speaks about the fact that Deontay Wilder only relies on his power. Deontay Wilder doesn't use his jab. He says the only time he used the jab was in the Stiverne fight. And that was true. He really did work his jab in the first Stiverne fight. He really did work his jab. And he says since that, Wilder never really used the jab again. And that's not really new news. A lot of people have said so on this very stream. That was the only fight you saw Deontay Wilder try and use a jab. Really. I think maybe the Duhaupas fight, maybe. But Duhaupas was still kind of roughing him up. But the Stiverne fight, maybe because Stiverne was a shorter fighter, he was able to really show this jab. On the jab topic, I think it was Tunde asked him, does he agree that AJ has a better jab than Wilder? No, he said, of course. He said no. So Anthony Joshua has an even worse jab than a non-existent jab of Deontay Wilder. For those who don't know, Matt Breland is not the biggest fan of Anthony Joshua. He really thinks Anthony Joshua is trash, right? This is not new news. If you look at any interview where Breland is asked about Joshua, he's been pretty consistent. He thinks Joshua is a subpar, come forward fighter, and that's about it. He says he would beat Joshua. So, he put the kibosh on that sort of equation where because you don't believe Wilder's jab is good, you must believe Anthony Joshua's jab is better. And he said no, I don't believe that. So 1 second, please. I'm gonna go on mute for a second. Just excuse me, please. My bad, folks. I had a phone call. Sorry about that. So after talking about the non-existent jab of Wilder and how he would beat Joshua and all that, for a text, maybe a text thing, you can check this breakdown that Talk Sport did of the interview. It's pretty good. If not, you can always go to Spencer Fearon's channel, Spencer and Thunder. I think it's called Stamina for Sale or some weirdness like that. So they asked him about Wilder's training regimen, like, you know, did he do heavy bag? Did he do road? And he said no. Wilder never did no road walk, never did no heavy bag, no speed bag, none of that. None of that. But Wilder has said this. He don't do none of that. You know I'm saying? So a lot of that you saw him doing with this heavy vest on in the Showtime build-ups or whatever, that's just for show. That's my opinion. That's not what he said. But in my opinion, all that stuff you see Wilder doing with the heavy back, with the heavy vest, running and doing all this weird stuff, that's just for show. You see Wilder doing all this weird training where this dude is throwing frisbees at him and he's trying to dodge the frisbees and all of this. And he's getting his legs tied up and he's tripping over himself and all of that. You know, that's not Mark. You don't see Mark Breland doing that with Wilder. But he says Wilder doesn't do none of that boxing training in terms of heavy bag and all of that. You know, it was a very revealing interview, you know. And you see, I think I was on Tony's Reviews channel, and he was saying, like, you know, he was saying, like, yeah, I mean, you could see Breland still holding back something, because I guess he still cares for the dude, but you could see Breland could have been much more scathing in his comments, but he was still holding back. If it was me, Deontay would have got the full brunt of everything. I would have told Deontay exactly what this. I told him how garbage of a person he is. You know, and when you make the rounds on some of these YouTube channels, especially the ones that takes call-ins, you actually hear people coming down on Breland saying Breland sound bitter. How could you say those things about a guy that you work with for so much years? It just shows that you're a snake and you don't like Deontay. You know, I just find it so sad. Mark Breland was not, he wasn't as bad as he could have been. And to hear people still complaining that somehow Breland was wrong for saying saying that about Wilder because him and Wilder been together so long. It's like, how are you mad at Breland? Deontay Wilder essentially tried to destroy this man's not only professional career, but his personal life. In his professional career, you basically tried to paint this man as a person that fighters should never trust. Which fighter should ever trust somebody who is spiking water and helping the opposition, giving them advice and all of this? So basically then, if this has succeeded, if Breland didn't have such a stellar personal, how do I say, personal rapport with people, if people didn't like Breland and know him as a human being, you know what I'm saying? People would have said, yeah, it's true. But people knew Mark Breland, so people vouched for him as a human being. So that overrided whatever damage Deontay Wilder was trying to do to him professionally. People was like, nah, Mark would never do that because I know him personally. He's not that type of person. That is ridiculous. So he didn't succeed in that. But even on a personal level, you're not making this man out to be a poisoner. You're making him out to be a poisoner. What's up, Black? Hey, Black, if you want to get down with me, you don't know. You're always welcome. And anybody else, Tone, Ryan O'Rourke, if y'all have anything to say on the topic. So Deontay Wilder tried to destroy this man personally and professionally. It didn't succeed, but he tried that. So when I hear people on these other channels being mad at Breland for saying the things that he said, I'm shocked, but not surprised. Let me see what Tone said. Wilder impressed me in the first Stavern fight by boxing behind the jab. I didn't think he had that kind of performance in him. He was still wild as F whenever he had this man in trouble. That's right. He did work behind his jab. Ryan O'Rourke says, Stavern has always been a pie. O'Rourke also says Breland was nice to Wilder. Let me tell you something. That interview was subdued. He spoke honestly, but he didn't say the things that he could have said. If somebody says those things about you and tries to destroy you like that on multiple levels, most of us, including me, would have come out with as much venom, as much, just as much anger as I could. I would have deal with this man severely. Breland also spoke about things like Breland spoke about Tyson Fury. And he says Deontay Wilder cannot beat Tyson Fury. He can't beat Tyson Fury. You at the post office. Post office. That's cool, Black. I didn't know people to go to the post office. That's cool, man. Did you get your stamps and all of that? Did you buy like $3 stamps? That's cool. So I'm saying, like, it's just disappointing to me how you have individuals still trying to be mad at Mark Breland for answering back after all this time. The man hasn't said nothing. He gives an interview and these guys are having a meltdown. He's wrong for saying that. He's been with Wilder so long. 1 second, I got another phone call. Man, what was I saying? This is a busy day. This is a busy Saturday. Why everybody bothering me on a Saturday? I'm just in my office chilling today, man. I'm not, whatever, man. Breland also said Wilder didn't listen to a word he told him out. No, he didn't. Leon Muhammad said, if you know who Leon Muhammad is, he's an old school boxing guy, Hall of Famer, in his area. And he said, apparently him and Breland have some close relationship. He says maybe it's cousins, or maybe it's just like country cousins where you're close, you're cool. But he calls Breland his cousin. And he drew attention to the fact that in the first Fury fight, after the fight, Breland had left you don't see Breland in the ring. He had left the corner because Wilder would not listen to him. And I've had people come onto this show on my streams telling me that it's Mark Breland's fault because Wilder didn't learn anything. People have said on this stream to me that it is in fact Breland's fault, not Wilder's fault for being a person that just didn't care. But it was Breland's fault that Wilder was unable to learn his craft. So I'm guessing Malik Scott, who we have heard rumored to be Wilder's new trainer, is going to be able to get through to Deontay Wilder where Mark Breland, a decorated amateur, professional champion, could not. Where am I going now? Where is this? I'm going to share the Talk Sport article with you. Again, if you want to see the video interview, I'm not going to play it because I'm not using my headphones. I'm not sure how the quality would come through. But I'm going to share the Talk Sport article. I'm going to go through it a little bit because it has in also his comments about Anthony Joshua, which I noted before, that he thinks Tyson Fury is going to maul Anthony Joshua. So if anybody was looking for any comfort from Breland about Joshua, he has not changed his opinion of Joshua one bit. He's been saying from before that Joshua is trash. And he still thinks Joshua is a trash fighter. Let's see if I can share the article. 1 second. Right, here we go. So we're going to go to Matt Breland's quotes. He says his career is done now. So I'm done and he's done. And I'm done with him. I was telling that man says he's done with him. So he said not only is his career done, Wilder's career done, and I guess on a personal level, he's finished with Deontay Wilder. I mean, how could you be around somebody like this? How could you be around somebody who tried to destroy you like this on so many levels? Personal level, professional level. How could you be around somebody like this? So he says, in response to a viewer comment, he says, well, one thing, you all like to say, which because I guess the viewer comment was saying that Wilder has a lot of power and whatnot. He says, one thing you all like to say is that he's got a lot of power, and that's all. I wish him well, and that's it. Only got his power, and we'll see how far that takes him. And that's all I'm going to say. Remember, Deontay Wilder said, Breland made note of it, actually made the comment, and he said, y'all got to be perfect for, however long. I only got to be perfect for 2 seconds or 3 seconds or whatever. So Deontay was like, look, I don't need to be perfect. I don't need to learn how to box. Breland actually did say that in the interview. He actually said the quote line for line, the exact quote. And I remember Wilder saying it. So that stuck with Breland. And Breland is quite aware that Deontay really didn't care about the craft of boxing. So we continue on talking about Wilder's conspiracy accusations. He said, I mean, so many people know me and my character speaks for itself. Spiked water, if you're looking at the tapes or whatever, you don't ever see that the water is in my hand. Someone else is giving him the water. And regardless of that, I'm there to help you. My attitude is, when you win, I win. I've seen some foolish people talking to me about that fight. Come on now, only foolish people come out with stuff like that because it's crazy. If you know me, you know me. And that's real talk. Again, like I said, this smear campaign by Wilder and his lames on YouTube didn't work because people actually knew Mark Breland on a personal level, knew the man has, integrity, and didn't go for that nonsense, right? So he goes on to say, he was asked about the glove tampering allegations, and he says, I doubt it very much. I don't know. I've never seen nothing, but still at the same time, he's not gonna beat Tyson Fury regardless. Says JD's was standing right there when the man was getting his hands wrapped. If they put something in there, either Jay's blind or Jay's right there when he's getting his hands wrapped, and he didn't say nothing. But to be honest, that's how much he knows about boxing. Hell, he probably could have put a cast up in there and he wouldn't have known. So that's Breland talking about Jay Diaz. and saying pretty much what everybody's been saying, that why are you blaming Breland for the gloves or whoever for the gloves? The guy you didn't fire was the one who was inside there, with the gloves being put on the man's hand. But you fired the black man, Mr. So-called black conscious, black leader, king of these people, and get out of here. So now we get into something that's that people on my stream have tried to tell me. I don't know what he's saying. So remember, we've always said that Wilder has fought bums. Well, Breland agrees apparently, and he says, if I boxed the guys he boxed, I'd beat them. That's the bottom line. So somebody apparently tried to counter Breland with the Luis Ortiz fight. Good wins against Luis Ortiz. Breland corrected and said, you say he got some good wins? A good win. That's it. A good win. Just that fight. That was it. When asked if Wilder has a jab, Breland answered no. He used the jab in that fight against Bermain Stavern, and that was it. Talking about Wilder's training, he said no, he never hit the bag. He don't hit the speed bag. He don't jump no rope. He don't hit the speed bag, and he don't hit the heavy bag. Crazy. And then he goes on to talk about Joshua and saying he could beat Joshua. Like I said, he said, to be honest, I could beat Anthony Joshua. I could beat Anthony Joshua. Here's a guy who doesn't have a jab at all. When he fought Ruiz in the second fight, people talked about the jab, but that wasn't a jab. He was doing this. So he was like feinting. He was like demonstrating feinting. To fight a guy like him, I would out jab him. I don't think he'd be able to touch me. I'd put him to sleep. The jab can bang that chin and put you down. He goes on to say Fury would beat him up. Fury would beat him up. He has good mind games. He plays with these guys. He's playing with their heads, and guys get mad or frustrated. So frustrated, it can throw them off their games. He says, I'm a fighter. I watch boxing. I watch fighters from my eyes and what I see. I could beat Anthony Joshua. He's straightforward. He's not hard to hit. So that's Matt Breland talking about Deontay Wilder, and also reminding you that Anthony Joshua is garbage. Peace, Brother Shah. So that was Matt Breland, man. I had a lot to say. And again, check the full interview out on Spencer Fearon and Tunde Ajayi's channel. Stamina for sale or something, or some wild shit like that. Man said what he said. Man said what he said. Huh? He said he'd beat Joshua. Joshua got no job, etc. I favor Fury, but it's like 60 R0. What do you mean, Ryan O'Rourke? Say that again. 60 R0? What's that? You want to say it's like 60-40? Okay. Samuel Shaw in the house. So that's Matt Breland talking about what he feels about Wilder. And I don't see nothing in there that man said that was slanderous, that was completely off base. Breland essentially said what people have been saying for a long time, even when Matt Breland was training Deontay Wilder, that he's fought bums his entire career. You know what I'm saying? He's fought bums. He got the good Ortiz win. But that's about it. People have been saying Deontay Wilder does not do pad work, does not train. Deontay Wilder himself said he don't do those things. He don't jump no rope, and he don't do that because what he got that God-given power. I got power. I'm anointed by the man above. My grandmother told me I was anointed. I got power. That's my Deontay Wilder impression. Gotta excuse me, I'm drinking my my Earl Grey. But then you still got people out here who trying to disrespect the man now on these so-called boxing channels, calling in and talking about Breland is wrong for saying what he said. You're telling me Breland is wrong for saying that, but Breland is not wrong. But Deontay Wilder is not wrong for trying to destroy this man personally and professionally. Deontay Wilder called this man an attempted murderer. If you spike somebody's water, you're trying to kill them, especially if they're in a fight. You're trying to addle the person you poisoned so they can be murdered in a ring. He basically said Mark Breland was basically trying to kill him or get him killed. And Mark Breland is wrong for saying what? For saying, I mean, the man was light in that interview. It could have been much worse. Dr. Woodok says Americans haven't given AJ 1 ounce of respect. Nah, they haven't. They're still upset that Anthony Joshua did not follow the new American boxing plan. The new American boxing plan is to duck unifications, duck tough fights, stay over there, and whatever. Anthony Joshua didn't follow it. Anthony Joshua actually tried to achieve something in his young career. So they're still mad at that. I completely disagree with Matt Breland. I disagreed with him back then when he was with Wilder. I disagree with him now. I think Anthony Joshua would maul Deontay Wilder. I think he would violate Deontay Wilder badly. See if my camera works, man. Let y'all see who the hell talking to you. What up? See the barley, got the barley shaved up. Got the barley shaved up, coconut oil down. You know what I'm saying? The beard ain't combed though. Gray hair is coming out. What's up? So what y'all think, man? Was Mark Breland wrong to say what he said? The man gave his opinion. The brother, hey, Samuel Shaw, you need a new picture. You can't be having this picture flexing on people, man. What's that? What's that? I mean, you know, you trying to tell me that I'm fat? I know I'm fat, Samuel. But I'll read your comment nonetheless, okay? Deontay Wilder's an awkward dude in real life. And he let a group of guys build up this fake character he plays. You're damn right. That's a fact. In real life, he seems to be a very socially awkward type of guy. Like he wasn't really sure of who he was. But before this fake character came out, if you looked at Wilder interviews before, he was kind of a chill guy. He was kind of a chill guy. You know what I'm saying? And then the Bronze Bomber character came up. The fake character you spoke about, Samuel Shaw, and that's all she wrote. It's a damn shame. But he is kind of socially awkward. Doesn't really know how to handle, you know, being in front of a camera. Doesn't really know how to handle some things. And then instead of trying to just build on who he is naturally and be who he is, he tried to be somebody else and came off even stupider than before. You know what I'm saying? He came off even stupider than before. And that's unfortunate. But do y'all think Deontay Wilder is done? I don't think so. I think Deontay Wilder has a lot of good fights in front of him. I said before that I think I'm more excited now for Wilder's career than when he had the belt. Because there's a lot of good fights in front of him now that the belt is not going to get in front of. There's a lot of good fights, solid fights. Wilder could really have a productive back end of his career, because this is the back end of Deontay Wilder's career. This is the back end of it. But I don't know if he's done. Breland says he's done. Breland says he himself is done, and also Deontay Wilder is done. If Deontay Wilder doesn't want to listen to Matt Breland, who he gonna listen to? Who he gonna listen to? I've seen some channels say that the Charles Martin fight might be off. I haven't seen any official reports. I didn't see any official reports that it was on in the first place. But I've seen some people saying online that the fight is off before it even got signed. That's unfortunate. Hopefully, if it's off, it's in favor of a bigger fight. Because you can't have Deontay Wilder is in a position now where he can't have tune-ups anymore. His name is too big, and he's gonna command too much money to really be in a tune-up fight. Like he can't fight jobbers no more. Maybe he can do the Harold Scornier's rematch. Yeah, you knocked me down in that fight, but not this time. Maybe they can find Dustin Nichols. What is Dustin Nichols doing these days? The fat white guy who he fought? I think it's unfortunate. Brother Shah says, I think mentally Deontay may be done. Just look how he has handled this whole nonsense after taking a loss. That's a hell of a thing. It's all up here. Remember Samuel Shah, he had said that Joshua is gonna lose to Ruiz in the second fight because Joshua is mentally weak. He has a weak mind. He has a loser's mentality. He has a weak mind. Remember that. So he's well aware about mind and how the mind works. The problem with Deontay is that Deontay is projecting something fake to the world. He's using his disdain for others to mask his own insecurities. He never dealt with his own insecurities. So his mind really might be gone. Because he don't know, because his whole persona was built up on a base of sand. The sand shifted from under this big building and the building toppled over. So mentally, he might be gone. Black says Harold Scorn is by, come on, Black. Don't do that. Harold Scorn is by decision, by the honest decision. Come on now. Saif Bud, what up, man? If you want to jump in with me before I get off, brother, y'all know I don't be on for long. You know? Saif, let me see. Woodok says Wilder cannot afford to fight stiffs monetarily or for his career. Wilder won't retire with that Ruiz fight on the table. He can make just as much, if not more, than the Fury fight. That's a hot take. Deontay Wilder versus Andy Ruiz, is that gonna give Deontay Wilder as much money as a Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury trilogy? That's a hot take, but I agree. I don't think he should retire. I'm excited for the back end of his career because he has a lot of solid fights in front of him. He can really build up his they are good, Saif, but no problem, man. You do your thing. He could really build up his I was going to say portfolio, his fight profile, if you will, by fighting Ruiz, you know, by fighting I was going to say Kawanaki, but nah. By fighting Ruiz, by fighting the winner of Dillian White versus Alexander Povetkin. He can fight the loser out of Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua. He can fight that. He can fight the loser of that fight. And it'd still be a big fight. But it's like what Samuel Shah says, is that man done? If Tyson Fury beats Anthony Joshua twice or once and then Joshua doesn't ask for a rematch, I think Tyson Fury will retire. Or he just won't fight Deontay. If Anthony Joshua beats Tyson Fury once or twice, I guess he still got to fight Usyk. Usyk or Joe Joyce. Still got to fight them. So we might end up seeing Wilder maybe being able to fight, because I think Joshua will still fight Deontay Wilder. It's just that Deontay will really have to chill on his demands. Like, he gonna have to chill, like chill. But in between that time, because he might not be able to get a fight like that until mid 2022 or the end of 2022. Who does Deontay Wilder fight? And how much longer does he have as a productive heavyweight? Because his whole style was predicated upon speed and power. And you already know, even basketball players, when your whole style is predicated upon athleticism, usually people like that don't have a long career. If your whole thing was, I'm gonna jump over everybody and I'm never gonna learn how to do basic stuff, then you're not gonna have a long career. We've seen those. So Wilder's whole thing was, I'm athletic, I'm powerful, I can do all this, I can knock dudes out. And hey, power is the last thing to go, but it's the delivery of that power that's gonna go fast. You're not gonna be as fast. There's gonna be dudes coming up who have the tape on you, and them dudes gonna try and pressure you. They don't care. I played an interview with Charles Martin the other day, where Charles Martin was saying, "Yeah, man, this guy can't fight backing up." He's speaking about Wilder and their potential fight, and he said Wilder can't fight backing up. He can't. So people have been looking at Wilder for a long time and seeing his flaws. He can't fight backing up. So you gotta stay in his chest. But the Mark Breland interview was really good. Breland talks about his amateur career, his pro career, speaks about people who he wanted to fight. Everything he said was spot on to me, because it's not new news. Nothing he said was new news. Deontay Wilder fired the only boxing head around him, the only boxing mind around him to keep JD's. I'll never forget how Shelly Finkel chewed out the, Mark Breland on the goddamn apron when he stopped the fight. I'll never forget that. Devin Haney. I've seen a report that says Teofimo Lopez next fight is going to be against George Kambosos in June. George Kambosos in June. So basically, then Teofimo is not going to be fighting Devin Haney. Next. Tone says the bubble has been burst with good matchmaking. Wilder still have something to offer. Will his current team of lackeys have what it takes to improve him as a fighter? Who knows, man? Because if Mark Breland couldn't improve Deontay, but as I said to him, people have come onto my stream and told me it's Mark Breland's fault, not Deontay Wilder's fault. Even though Wilder is the one who said, I don't need to learn how to box. I have power. God-given anointed power. Devin Haney, as I was saying, Teofimo's team apparently have said that they're going to fight George Kambosos. So where does that leave Devin Haney? He has one fight left. His mandatory Ryan Garcia is not interested in him. Well, his first mandatory Ryan Garcia is not interested in him. Teofimo Lopez is not interested in him. He's going to go fight his mandatory George Kambosos in June or something like that. Let me make sure I find a report. I saw it on Benson's page. So let me make I'm not talking nonsense. Let me see. Where is it? So yeah, so according to Dan Rafael, sources, I guess, Teofimo Lopez versus George Kambosos Jr. target date is reportedly June 12th. June 12th. So Devin Haney has to announce a fight right now. But let me just say about Devin Haney. I realize Devin Haney's pops has also been trying to feed him the Tank diet, the Javante Davis diet, the Gamboa, and Gary Russell, a 126 guy. Tank fought Gamboa, and then Tank fought a 126 guy in Leo Santa Cruz. I am not interested in seeing no Gary Russell fight Devin Haney. I know Bill Haney was on with Gary Russell and on the Boxing Voice and had all this lot of confusion about contracts and blase, blase. Let me be clear. I'm not interested in seeing Devin Haney take a Javante Davis diet. I think he should fight Javier Fortuna next. He should fight Javier Fortuna next. He should move on to fight Linares next after that. There are fights available for him outside of Teofimo Lopez and Ryan Garcia in his own weight class. There are fights available. I am not interested in seeing these young guys fight these. You heard. I've given you my opinion already about Tank trying to fight Abner Maris. Again, another small guy coming up. I do not want to see these fights. The same way I'm going to disagree. I'm going to vehemently disagree with Tank fighting these small guys. I'm going to disagree with Devin Haney too. I understand that you calling out Teofimo and these guys, they don't want to fight you. You can't do nothing about that. You can't force them. What you can do is go and find fights in your own weight class. Your father was on with Samson Lukowicz. Samson Lukowicz admitted that, yes, we did turn down the Devin Haney fight, but we're ready to go now. Javier Fortuna is a WBC second mandatory. And since Ryan doesn't want the fight, it is now Javier Fortuna as the mandatory. Make that fight. I know it's your last fight on the zone contract with Matchroom and all of that, but I want to see you in that fight. I do not want to see you on no Tank Davis diet. I don't want to see it. That's right, Black. Man taking half the year off. I guess he need time to train for the dangerous George Kambosos. The very dangerous George Kambosos. I mean, Devin Haney did say that they did reach out to Teofimo's team. Eddie Hearn did reach out. And I think it was Bob Arum said that he would prefer to wait for fans to come back for that fight. So in the meantime, what do you do? Are you going to sit around and wait for people, or are you actually going to fight and build your profile? I don't consider beating Gary Russell Jr. as building your profile. I didn't give Tank credit for beating Leo Santa Cruz. I'm not going to give you no credit for beating Gary Russell. He's not going to see this stream, but that's my opinion. Fight the people at your weight class that's available. Build your profile. You have to start like how I feel about Andrade. The people who don't want to fight you, you can't do nothing about that. What you can do is fight the people who want to fight you, and you have to make them look like trash. You have to make it look like the people who are coming in front of you, who are willing to fight you, are not even in the same league. And then that's going to make people, and that's going to make the boxing fans and the boxing pundits now say, well, Devin Haney clearly is above the guys he's fighting. But why are these other guys refusing to fight him then? So Devin Haney got to start doing some work. He has to announce a fight soon, because everybody else is announcing their fights, and he's not. Yeah, he could get a tune-up fight versus Haney, but That's how it goes. They don't want. They're not interested, Black. I guess the great Teofimo have a ranch too. Who knows? Hey, who knows, man? They might be, you know, he might be on Errol Spence's ranch, helping him clean up cow pies and feed the chickens in the morning. Chickens gotta be fed now. We need farm hands now. Devin Haney gotta get the back of the line. So you gotta fight who's in front of you, Devin Haney. I don't want to see no Gary Russell fight. Go fight Javier Fortuna, then fight Linares, and see if you can beat up Luke Campbell too. Right? There's fights there for you, sir. You just gotta be willing to take them, and don't allow your father, whoever else, to put you on the PBC diet, the Tank Davis diet. I'm not interested. Demetrius Andrade and Liam Williams. Liam Williams is his mandatory. And apparently there's a purse bid being called. Let's see. Purse bid being called February the 10th. That's the Wednesday coming. And I'm already guessing that Matchroom will win that that purse bid. I'm not sure they allow BT Sport to win it. No, I'm sorry, Frank Warren to win that purse bid. Well, this is another guy, Demetrius Andrade, who's being ducked by a lot of top guys, by all the top guys. Golovkin don't want to fight this dude. Charlo's turning down offers, and Canelo does not want to fight him. Canelo is fighting somebody who ducked Andrade twice. Never forget that. Canelo is fighting somebody who ducked Andrade twice. And if you believe Demetrius Andrade, Canelo turned on an extra $5 million to fight him at 160. So Demetrius Andrade also, when he fights Liam Williams, it can't look like the Luke Keeler fight. That Luke Keeler fight, clearly Luke Keeler wasn't in the class of Demetrius Andrade, but he didn't look good in that Luke Keeler fight. He looked sloppy as hell in that Luke Keeler fight. Terrible. So when he fights Liam Williams, who is a tough guy, by the way, tough guy. When he fights Liam Williams, by the way, he has to know, make Liam Williams look about 2 to 3 levels beneath him. 2 to 3 levels beneath him. He has to make it look like Demetrius Andrade should not be fighting these type of guys again. And that's when people are going to start putting pressure on people like Triple G and Charlo. And now Ryota Murata, who has a belt, to fight Demetrius Andrade. A lot of people don't want to fight this man. Anybody who's saying that that's not true is lying. But that's all I got. Want y'all to have a nice day. Take care of yourself. I don't know where y'all live, but in some places y'all still going through this COVID situation. Be careful out there. Who's that? Oh yeah, man. Gabe Rosado calling me. Hey, listen, Gabe Rosado will fight anybody. That man wants a fight. He calling out Andrade. And I don't blame Gabe Rosado. I like that Gabe Rosado is always in the mix, though. He's always ready to go, always in the mix. Gabe Rosado fought some tough dudes. He ain't winning no fights, but he gonna fight. But y'all have a nice day, man. Peace out. Take care of yourself, man.